everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. Boy, I love it when criminals get caught, I guess you could say. And there's a criminal that got caught, and I think a lot of Americans out there would be very glad that he did. And I'm talking about the chief ObamaCare architect that was sacked after a fraudulent billing investigation, according to the Daily Caller. Says Vermont Attorney General has settled the state's claim of fraud against Jonathan Gruber, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor who served as a technical consultant for President Barack Obama as one of the chief architects of Obamacare. Under the terms of the settlement, Gruber would no longer work as a taxpayer-funded economic consultant for the state's healthcare system, and he won't seek to be paid any money he might be owed. This according to the Rutland Herald, a Vermont newspaper. Now, for its part under the agreement, the Vermont Attorney General will not pursue legal action under the Vermont Civil False Claims Act. Vermont Attorney General T.J. Donovan announced the settlement on Friday after state investigators wrapped up an inquiry into Gruber's billing practices. Officials in Vermont had hired Gruber as an economic consultant to assess, examine, and provide economic models for a now abandoned plan to roll out a single-payer healthcare system across a tiny state. The single-payer health scheme, called Green Mountain Care, was the brainchild of former Governor Pete Shumlin. Now, eventually, Shumlin, a Democrat, decided government-funded healthcare would be too costly for Vermont's 625,000 citizens. Doug Hoffer, the state auditor, also a Democrat, originally referred allegations of Gruber's overbilling to the Attorney General. Donovan, the Attorney General, and still another Democrat, said his office determined that Gruber did, in fact, violate the Vermont Civil False Claims Act. Now, specifically, investigators concluded that Gruber sent 2 invoices and possibly more, falsely charging the state and its taxpayers for work which had never been completed by Gruber or any of his underlings. The dollar amount sought in 2 invoices are not clear, but under the terms of Gruber's consulting contract, he was supposed to receive up to $400,000 for his policy advice concerning single-payer health in Vermont. And, of course, Gruber denies any fraud. Mind you, this guy became a household name in 2014 when Obamacare went into effect. And videos surfaced soon after of him speaking about how Obama and his administration intentionally misled the American public about certain aspects of the bill. This is what he said, quote, "Lack of transparency is a huge political advantage, and basically call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever, but basically that was really, really critical for the thing to pass." Doesn't he look like, it looks like somebody right out of Revenge of the Nerds. I'm just saying. This is one of the criminal architects of Obamacare. Obamacare, of course, was set up and doomed to fail. Why? Because ultimately the goal is to bring about single payer, which, of course, Gruber is a consultant and a big-time consultant for. So this is good news in the fact that his name gets sullied, that his criminal practices actually get brought to light by people within his own party. And who knows? Does this guy just go away? I doubt it. I doubt it. You know, he'll still be a professor at MIT, and I'm sure there's going to be many states that come a-calling, especially California, right now with their push for single-payer health. Now, the idea of single-payer health, of course, you know, when people talk about it, it might seem appealing to some, but the cost is unbelievable when you try to spread it across everybody. And if you take a look at Obamacare and how many people actually opt out of health insurance, the health insurance mandate, because they just feel like it's more cost effective for them to do so. And now, of course, now you don't have to pay the fine, as Trump has an executive order that has basically put that on hiatus. More and more people will drop out of the system, but that means that healthcare is going to go up, 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 because they have to spread that risk, that the people in the high risk pool, they have to spread that dollar amount out across everybody that participates. The only way that it could possibly work is if you have everybody paying into it, regardless. And that just can't happen here in the United States, not with our current construct. So the best way I believe, is a free market type of healthcare system. Something that a lot of doctors right now are coming up with. You know, there are more concierge doctors now than ever before that are taking cash outside of taking insurance. Oftentimes when you take insurance, you have to sign a contract that says that you won't take charge extra for your services minus what the insurance agreement is, right? So doctors get hamstrung. Their hands are tied. And then they charge the insurance companies however much, and they cut it back 70%, you know, and then doctors and their staff have to go and submit claims, and that takes time. Sometimes it's a pretty arduous process. And in order to stay profitable, because what they make gets cut way back, they have to see a patient every 7 minutes. Well, how do you figure out what's wrong with somebody if you only have 7 minutes with them? You know, that's where the concierge model is better because, yes, do you pay more? Absolutely. But the quality of service and the care is much better. Now, a doctor can spend a half an hour to an hour with you. You know, we take part in a concierge practice, and it's night and day different compared to your standard run-of-the-mill health insurance-based practice. And that's not saying all of them are bad, but what I'm saying is what you're seeing is a pushback by doctors who've just had enough and been fed up, that cannot do what the Hippocratic Oath, a lot of doctors used to take that oath. They don't do it anymore, but those that did, a lot of them are pulling away from this because they just can't give the care that they want to give. And that's good. So I'm hoping that there's pushback and that a free market healthcare system emerges from this train wreck that's Obamacare. Who knows? You know, perhaps there's a silver lining in this cloud. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Have a great day.